If you want a 10-second update on how my video making has been going, well, this video has basically no editing and was supposed to be up 2 weeks ago. So that's kind of where things are for that. Anyway, here's the video. Thank you all for tuning in to watch my 200 subscriber Q&A special thing. Here I'm going to answer some questions people asked me from my previous video. Well, because of 200 subscribers at least, most of them came through other social media, not on the actual comments. First up, Horton hears a who versus Horton hatches the egg. Which is better? The real answer is I haven't read either of these books in maybe 2 decades, but I'm gonna go with Horton hears a who, just because it plays in a little bit better to elephants having good hearing because they have big ears. The smallest person can help make a difference, whereas Horton hatches an egg is about an elephant hatching an egg. It was not as interesting. Top 5 liquids you eat with cereal. I think the number 1 would be air. I don't pour stuff on my cereal, but like really the only correct answer here would be like milk. You eat cereal with water. But to give an actual answer to this question, I mean, since it was asked, I better respond to it, right? You need some nice orange juice, and then you need some nice tequila, and throw in a little bit of lighter fluid just to give that an extra zest. Plus, that way you can make baked cereal, like a baked Alaska. Just light it on fire. Topping number 4 for cereal, obviously, Gamer Girl bathwater. And lastly would be the pulverized, liquefied remains of another type of cereal, so you can be twice as efficient in eating your cereal. But yeah, what do you expect from an answer to that? There's no way to give a serious answer. What do I look for in animation? One thing I try to stress is that I am not strictly an anime fan. I am an animation fan. It's just there's usually a lot more interesting things happening with anime, or at least that I feel like I want to actually talk about. But what I look for in animation and anime is the animation part of it. You have something that's animated, I want to see some exaggeration. I want to see some creative use of medium. So there's a lot of good action, hype, exciting anime that I'm not saying I don't like. They're not really why I come to animation. I want to see, big, colorful, inspiring, vast worlds and cool animation, which is why Kill la Kill is my favorite anime. Basically everything Imaishi has worked on I find very interesting. Now I don't necessarily like all of it. It's not like he's a perfect creator or anything, but I really like his approach to animation. I'm much more likely to watch something if it's stylized and really ridiculous, rather than, you could have the best drama in the world. If it's animated in a boring way, I don't really care that it's animated. Another example of very interesting animation would be like, I love stop motion animation. That's a really love it or hate it art form, but it ages extremely well. Like, it basically just doesn't age at all. It looks as good now as when it was made, and stop motion is just a really specific version of everything. Stop motion does not look like any other type of film. I really like just interesting animation. And that, more than anything, is what I look for in animation. What's the biggest change of opinion you've had on a piece of media, whether a positive or negative change? Got kind of 2 answers to this. One, in the general sense, rock music. Both these answers really going to go back to how I was a little shitty judgmental kid. I don't like all your loud, abrasive music. I'm only going to listen to real music, like the Beatles. Mock that opinion all you want. Obviously, I have come around to enjoying more music. Like, even through high school, I hated things I didn't like way more than I should have. That's been a long journey of just trying to not care about things that don't affect me. Like, hate on Twilight, hate on Justin Bieber. Ugh, how dare they be popular with people. What my opinion changed on the most definitely was Harry Potter. Back in elementary school, Harry Potter, the books were still coming out. It was the most popular thing around. So I hated it without reading it, because screw popular things. Why does everyone like this book? What I'm reading is so much better. What was I reading at the time? I don't even remember. So anyway, that opinion persisted until, I actually read Harry Potter, and I really liked it. So, that was a pretty abrupt 180. Turns out a series written to appeal to kids was appealing to me as a kid. Now, one last question. This wasn't asked specifically about this 200 sub special, but it is something I have been asked by several different people. If you like talking about movies so much, did you ever think about just being a movie critic? The answer is no, not really. Maybe if I'd really liked movies this much, in high school before college, I might have taken more, film theory classes and stuff. But the thing about being a critic is, I don't want to be a critic. And I think the essential difference there between being critical of things and being a critic is playing or watching whatever stuff that I don't think I'll like. I've made some angry reviews, some very negative reviews about stuff, but pretty much all the time when I'm going into something, I'm still expecting that I might like it. Often, I'm most disappointed because I think I will like something and it completely drops the ball. But if there's something I think that just going in, yeah, I'm not going to like this, I have no interest in it, I just don't watch it. One other thing is, I don't really seek out films just for, being historically significant to film. Or play games that are just historically significant to gaming. I seek out stuff that I think I will enjoy. And there are some historically significant films that are very, very important to watch to understand the history of film and be a good critic, that I don't think I will ever see, and I will really reevaluate my stance on, am I really a critic if I ever watch these films? Because I'm not necessarily talking about, old French New Wave films here, or I'm talking about films that were extremely influential in filmmaking, but also, holy crap, no, why would you watch this these days? Stuff like Birth of a Nation, also known as the film that helped revitalize the Ku Klux Klan. I don't care how many cinematic techniques it pioneered to create basically the first big hit, because the big hit was spreading racism. No. Anyway, that's probably not a tangent you expected me to go off on, just answering questions from people. Bottom line, I like watching stuff that I think I will like, and then when I don't like stuff that I think should have been better, I give it a bad review. But I'm not motivated to just seek out things specifically to give bad reviews of them. Granted, Bubble, that I did a review of this spring, I kind of expected to be bad going in based on the premise, but I did want to see what I was doing with it. And having just watched a different anime movie riffing on an old fairy tale in Belle, while I didn't expect Bubble to be good, I mean, there's at least potential in The Little Mermaid, but in a modern apocalyptic setting. Alright, so channel update, projects update, I guess. So, what's gonna come out the rest of this year? I realize that's several months. You'd probably expect several things to come out this year, but I've got other priorities other than working on videos. So I'm glad I got up to 200 subs, but it's been kind of slow because I kind of haven't been putting out big content. One thing I am definitely going to make, and it very well may be the next thing I post on this channel at this point, is a 2-season review of Love Live Superstar. Why? Because I liked the first season quite a lot, but it took me long enough to make a review of the first season. The second season was about to air, so I'm just going to review both of them at once. Will I actually be overall positive on the whole series? I don't know. This is probably going to end up being like an hour-long review. And one other thing I definitely want to have out this year is a top 5, bottom 5 like best and worst movies list. I feel like I actually have enough movies to fill out a meaningful top 5 list this year. And more importantly, there was like, at this point, there's been 4 movies that I've seen that I really liked a lot. I sure hope there's going to be a 5th one to round that out. But I've also seen quite a few movies that are just really bad this year. So this is a very optimal year for me to actually make a top and bottom 5. I have several half a dozen long video ideas, some of which have well typed up scripts that I just haven't finished or really started on in terms of recording or actually gathering footage or anything for. But I have the idea and I just don't actually work on it. So I really do hope to put out some more long videos at some point in the future, but they may get shuffled around or pursued or not pursued, depending on whether I think anyone will actually watch them. For instance, I have an idea of a video about reviewing a bunch of different music, but I've only ever done one music review and really nobody watched it, so what's the point of putting in a bunch of effort for something nobody's really going to care about? I could do it as some blog post somewhere or something, I guess. So thank you for watching this 200 subscriber special. Hope to talk to you again at 1,000, or 500, or who knows. We'll see. I've got a surprising amount of subs kinda recently despite not producing particularly much. So I'm glad that my stuff is reaching some people. If you're a new subscriber or a recent subscriber, thank you very much. And if you're an old subscriber, I'm glad you're sticking around and still watching my stuff. Bye.